Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Lewis sent me a note about a story out of Florida, and he said, check this story out from BayNews9.com. Florida law makes homeowners liable for contractors' unpaid bills. And of course, I'm familiar with this because this law exists in many other states, including Michigan, where I'm licensed to practice law. So be aware of this if you're getting work done on your home and you're working with a contractor who's buying supplies from somebody else, because this could come back to haunt you. Trevor Pettiford wrote this, and if you own a home long enough, you'll eventually hire a contractor to repair or renovate something. But a lot of people don't know about the law in Florida that talks about who's on the hook for the supplies that get furnished to the job when you're the one paying the contractor and the contractor is supposed to be paying the supplier. 26 other states have similar laws. So Michigan's got it, Florida's got it, a whole bunch of others. And homeowners are advised to ask their contractor for a lien release agreement. Because what happens, generally speaking, is I'm a homeowner. I hire contractor. Contractor goes and buys supplies from supplier. The law in many states says that supplier can place a lien on the homeowner's home to make sure they get paid by somebody. The contractor might be the one who's supposed to pay them, but if they don't get paid, the only thing they can lien is the home of the homeowner because that's where their supplies went. They're like, well, if those are my bricks in your house, I should get paid for those. So it's extremely important that you work with reputable contractors as well. So there's a man in the story here named Tim. He bought a place in St. Petersburg. He was looking for more affordable homes, so he bought a fixer-upper. So he bought the house back in June. And he said the old roof had problems, so he decided to get proactive and change it out. So he hired contractors to begin the renovations. I had the roof done, the air conditioning replaced, bathroom redone, and turns out that there was just $24,000 with the roof. He said at the end of each day, when supplies were delivered, he said they wanted full payment for the supplies, which I paid. So it was paid in 3 different increments. And the last one was the day after they finished. So they finished the job, he paid them, they're done. He said that repairs began on June 19th. 3 days later, the new roof was on. He said he paid in full. And then he got a letter in the mail a month later from the roofing supply company notifying him that they'd placed a lien on his home for $6,557.95 because they had not yet been paid. So he gave the money to somebody, but it didn't go to the supplier. They said according to state law, they can put a claim of lien on someone's home until they get their money from the roofing company. Well, it's until they get their money from somebody. But again, this law exists in 27 states total. And I know some of them say, Steve, this is unfair. It might be unfair to the homeowner, but you got to understand the supplier, the position they're in. But also, it's just a law. It's on the books. So again, don't blame me. I'm just the tour guide. Okay, I'm the one who's going to walk you through the legal system. So don't blame me for how the legal system got this way, because I had no idea this law existed. And then I had, at one point in time, I shared office space with a bunch of other attorneys. We were all sole practitioners. And one of them specialized in the law involving construction. And he represented a whole bunch of suppliers, including a company that sold cinder blocks. He also represented a company that sold lumber. And the guy spent a huge amount of his time filing these liens. And so there's a whole process they've got to go through. And generally speaking, the lien at the end, I don't believe that would be your first notice. I believe, at least in some states, they're required to send you a notice early on saying, just to let you know, we are furnishing supplies to your job. And if you're really curious about this, you need to know that if we don't get paid, there's going to be a lien on your house. And so they have a notice of furnishing and a bunch of other things that have to get filed. And if they don't do that just right, the lien might not hold up. So that's another issue. So the supply company is absolutely right, says Pinellas County Consumer Protection Manager Jason Oman, thanks to the Florida lien law. The Florida lien law allows a person who provides labor, or materials to file a lien against the property if they're not paid in order to allow them to get paid, and using this when your property is collateral. You could essentially get stuck paying twice for the same job. And so you might say, but Steve, this leaves you without a remedy. No, theoretically, you would then pay the supplier and then sue the contractor to get your money back because they obviously pocketed money they weren't supposed to. Oman says the law has been on the books for decades. As you can imagine, this homeowner's frustration virtually sent him through the roof that he just paid for. It's kind of crazy because why should you be out of the money for an attorney when you have proof that you've already paid for the service in full? So it's buyer beware when it comes to contractors in Florida, he said. State officials didn't return a request for comment on why the lien laws are necessary by press time. Across the country, 26 other states have similar laws. Well, this ain't rocket science. Now, it might be nice to get a hold of a state official who will explain the law to you a little better, but you can look it up. And like I said, 27 states apparently have got this law. Michigan's got one. Every state's got a different name for it. But basically speaking, when you hire someone to do work on your home, if they're going to be hiring subcontractors to do labor or buying supplies and materials from other parties, you have to understand that those people can put a lien on your property to guarantee that they get paid. And so the real big problem here is that people don't know this law exists. And so this is one of the reasons it is so important to use reputable contractors. And I've talked before about this, that I used to have a call-in talk show in Michigan, Flint, Michigan. I did a call-in talk show on Saturday mornings. People could call in and describe their legal problems to me, and I would give them the best answer I could on the air in the short time we had. And I would talk to people, and one of the common problems would be, I hired this guy to come out and put a new roof on my garage. I hired this guy to put in new windows. I hired this guy to put a new garage door on, okay? And the guy did a lousy job and disappeared. He either finished the job, took the money, now it's all falling apart, or didn't finish the job, or put the windows in sideways. Who knows? I mean, I heard everything. And I would often ask, as just a conversation starter, how much research did you do on this guy? And the number of times I heard from people who say, oh, well, the guy just came by and put a flyer in my door, so I called him. A flyer in your door? That actually influenced you in a major life decision, as like putting a new roof on your home? They go, what should I do? And I say, well, the figurative phone book is filled with contractors. Now, back then, you'd actually go to a phone book. Today, you can go to Google. You can go to the internet. And I always tell people, I say, try to find somebody local. Try to find somebody with references. Ask your friends, because you might discover that a friend of yours has had a new roof put on. And so you ask around, and you can usually find somebody. But let's suppose you can't. And you come across somebody who is now standing in your driveway, looking at your roof going, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, tell you what it's going to do. It's going to take 3 days. It costs this much money. How do you know they can do that? First of all, are they licensed? The number of times I heard from people say, it turns out the guy's not licensed. Oh? Second of all, and here's the other thing, you can ask to see their work. Have you done anybody else's roof in this area? Have you done any roofs in this area? Have you? Can you tell me the address of the roof so I can go take a look at it? And I've actually, and I know people who say, Steve, do you really take your own advice? Yes, I do. I had work done recently. And it's not important what kind of work I had done, but I had work done recently, and it actually added up to a sizable amount of money. And I was talking to a rep from the company I was going to have do the work. And I said, can I see some of your work? They said, absolutely. I said, do you have any going on right now? I want to see a job in progress or a job that's been recently done. They go, we've got a job in progress right now. And the salesperson from the company went with me and met me at an address where they were doing the exact job that I was going to hire them for. And I got to walk around and look and see a job halfway done. I said, do you have a job that's done that you can show me? Yes. They took me to another job. They showed me. So I hired them. They did great work. And so a lot of people feel strange asking a question like, can I go check your work? Can I see some references? No, that's what you should do with all the money you're putting out. Look at this guy here. He's out another $7,000 possibly. It might get straightened out, but again, is the hassle even worth it? So you got to ask around, get some references, ask to see their work. But the most important thing you can do is try to find a name that's been in business for a while. And every area's got one or two places that have been around for a long, long time. And if you talk to them, say, can I see some of your work? But also ask your friends, and I can tell you that I've got a neighbor friend of mine, I've known him now for 6 or 7 years, and I can ask him, do you know somebody who does such and such? Think about it. I go, yes, I got someone for you. And turns out he knows everybody. But you'd be surprised if you simply ask the question, do you know somebody who does this? Or do you know anybody who's recently had a roof put on their house? And can I talk to them? And you'd be surprised at how many people go, yeah, I know somebody who just did that. Yeah. So you got to ask around. But you have to understand, like I said before, you're the homeowner hiring a contractor who buys supplies from a third party. You don't deal with this third party supplier. But in 27 states, including Florida and Michigan, they can put a lien on your home to guarantee they get paid by these people. And that is a tricky situation considering the issues we hear about with contractors all the time. So that's a great story, Lewis. Thanks for sending it. From BayNews9.com to Tampa, Trevor Pettiford wrote that Florida law makes homeowners liable for contractors' unpaid bills to their suppliers. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Just because you got the monkey off your back doesn't mean the circus has left town.